Welcome to my newest video, guys. My name is LookAtTheBacon, and here is my set 7 update for my Ember Sapphire list. Before we dive into the deck, I just want to get two things out of the way. Firstly, I'm a hobby channel anyway, and so yeah, this is all free content. This will always be free. There will be no Patreon, no MetaFi, stuff like that. And yeah, you can trust me when I say I playtested my new list too hard. And secondly, I want to say that set 7 really shat on us. We basically got nothing, if we're honest, from these new cards. We have so many quite weak actions and quite weak items. I mean, you can scroll through this. I have the cards from set 7 open here in Ember and in Sapphire, and they are basically understated or overcasted, and the uninkability hurts, the stat lines are weak, the effects aren't that strong, and cards that are maybe broken in other decks, like the bell, is not good in our deck because we don't have the draw support from the for the sphere and stuff like that to add. The Scrooge doesn't work in our deck. And of course the Tematoa doesn't work in our deck either, so we have to work with what we have, and I have tested two cards that worked quite well. The first one is the Prince that I want to highlight, Vigilant Suitor, 2 ink, uninkable 05, Quest for 1 Bodyguard, which is a great card that buys us so much time. And the second card that overperformed in testing is the Thunderbolt, the 5 inkable 3/7, Quest for 2, Puppy Shift 3, and Bodyguard 3, which is the new mechanic. But now you can say, oh my gosh, is this a puppy deck? And I want to make this puppy deck work, and believe me, I tried it, but it failed. And so yeah, we are only including the exact number of puppies that we need and the exact number of dogs, and that's why I called the new deck 8 dogs. The punchline is Punish Sapphire Steel, a little catchphrase, so to say. And yeah, let's dive into the list. 60 cards, 15 uninkables, 15 is the sweet spot for me. That works best for me. I tried 16, which is okay, but a little bit greedy. 17 is too crazy. It breaks too often, and yeah. We're running 39 Ember cards and 17 Sapphire cards and 4 dual ink cards, which we showed already. 15 uninks, I told you already. 48 characters, 8 locations, and 4 songs. So what is the list exactly? The 1-drops. We have 4 Daisy, 4 Nala, and 4 Neverland. I tested other 1-drops like the Lilos, but in the current meta they are just too weak. They get killed by Storm, they get traded by the new Bell too easily, and so we need the 4 willpower to survive all of this. The 4 strength, sorry. And yeah, it's just better to survive longer. And now you can say, why the Neverlands? The Neverlands have overperformed like crazy. I like them since last set already. Anyway, some people tagged them into Diggy as well. The deck from Baron Dikendio, Diggy Diggy Hole. But in my opinion, it's a great card for our deck, and so these are the 1-drops. The 2-drops, we have the 4 additional dogs for the Thunderbolt, the shift target, which is the Dalmatian puppy, the old one from set 3. I took the one with the wink just to annoy enemies. And we have 2 Lilos for the Prince, and we have 4 Fix-It Felix Jr., which I will get to later, and 2 Cruella de Vil to counter Diablos on a Cove, because she takes it out quite clean. For the 3-drops, we have 4 Dale. I also tested the chip, but the 3 mana 3/3, the Quest for 1 that gives 1 lore to one of your characters, but it underperformed, and so this is just a stats monster and worked better for me. And the Alice is also really great, which worked wonders in the Holland Sweet list from last set, the Kiwi Birds plus the Aggro list, and it is also great in our deck. The same goes for the Scrooge McDuck, which is just an amazing stat monster, can be healed by Rapunzel, and of course the Thunderbolt, which we already talked about. We have the Baymax to get some additional gas pedal when we need it to go over the finish line. And we have actually the big shift lane for the Fix-It Felix Jr. And now you say, oh my gosh, now he's going crazy. Bacon is crazy, but hear me out. You have three main lines, so to say, in the deck. The first line is casual. You just drop as many daisies as possible. Like turn 1 daisy, turn 2 daisy, daisy. Then you will most probably win anyway, no matter if you're on the draw or on the play. Then you have a more slower line where you play a daisy into a prince, into a dale or something like that. Or you have these big shift lane plays. So if you don't have one of these 1-drops, the daisy or the Nala, and you just have a Neverland, you can drop the Neverland, then follow it up on turn 2 with the Fixed Felix Jr., which replaces itself and doesn't die to Storm. And then on 3 shift the big one onto it. And now your Neverland has 6 HP, and you have a 4/5 on the board that can sing Let It Go, which is absolutely amazing. And the same goes for the Poppy line. So no matter which 1-drop you have, Nala or Daisy, if you can follow it up with a Dalmatian Puppy, then you open the door to the Thunderbolt shift on 3, which has 1 more HP than the Robin Hood shift line from Steel. And this one has Bodyguard as well. So if you're on the play, you just quest for 2, which is amazing. And if you're on the draw, you can trade an enemy character, which is exerted. And if no enemy character is exerted, you just also quest for 2 and you have a Bodyguard online, which the enemy has to triple trade into, which is also very, very great. And if they use a Zeus on it, it's also fine because they have to double trade it. So this card has overperformed for me like crazy. And with these two big shift lines for the Fixed Felix Jr. and the Thunderbolt, you will most probably always have a Rapunzel target on 4, which was a big problem in the last sets sometimes because you had not so great targets all the time. But now we will most probably always have a target to heal. And this is great because we have the Quadra online. That's why we also don't need that many Lilos. Because if we're honest to ourselves, everything is overstated right now. The enemies will have Calhouns, they will have Smees, they will have Lawrences and stuff like that. And so Lilo just dies to the Fallout and never trades favorably, in my opinion. And so yeah, this is only a good card against Red Blue to resurrect her after B-Prep. But against Red Blue, we win anyway. You just drop some Daisies, some Dales, some Alices, some Scrooges, and turn sideways. And so yeah, I toned down the World's Greatest Criminal Mind to 1. You could also go down on 0 and play 4 Let It Goes, which could also be possible. But I wouldn't recommend to scratch the Let It Goes. I know that players like Moyen, which I highly admire, and I, God forbid, wouldn't want to argue against them in such a heated topic, say that this card isn't the greatest removal in the world. But of course we know this already ourselves, and the thing is we just don't have any other tools at our disposal, and we have so many 5-drops that can sing it, which are 9 in total. And we don't care if the enemy gets more ink. Because the thing is, either we win by turn 5, 6, 7, or the game is over anyway. And if the enemy ramps and plays a control deck, we are favored anyway because we are the aggro deck. We counter them. And so if they have one thing that we need to remove, otherwise we will lose, the Let It Go is amazing. Because we don't care if they have 1 more ink or not. It's basically like they played, like if they played a Sail before or something like that. It's bad against a mid-range deck, but that is our nemesis anyway, because in aggro deck we can out-tempo because we are either faster or we have more value. These are all great value minions, the Dale, the Scrooge, stuff like that. These 2 shift lines are crazy, can and will get hit by the Rapunzel, and our draw is way more consistent than before, and therefore yeah. The Mech Deck Mana just rounds out the deck. It's just a stat monster together with the Fix-It Felix Jr. Niceland Stewart. It has 11 HP. This won't get removed at all, and nobody's playing Hideaway currently, so yeah. Just try the deck out yourselves, guys. In my opinion, it works like a charm. Okay, so let's talk about some possible subs. I already touched on this a little bit. You could play the small Lilu, but it's currently weak in the meta because against decks where it is strong, like red-blue, we don't need it anyway because we are fast enough. And against blue steel and any steel deck basically that have access to cannons, baboom, storm strength and stuff like that, it just dies to the fallout, and so it's worse than a Nala currently. And the Nala especially because of the inkability gives us a little bit more leeway to run more of the Scrooge and the Alice and stuff. So yeah, the Lido is out for sure. You could also play the chip that I tested before together with the big shift line. I wouldn't recommend to swap the Dales for chips because, again, as I said, this chip has underperformed way crazier than I thought. Because oftentimes when I top decked it, I didn't have a minion to trigger the effect on. And yeah, so if you want to include it, of course, you have to include the big chip day, because the shift 5, 6, 6, the quest for 3 with this effect is just busted, and it could work. So either include both or none, in my opinion. You could also go back to some old cards that were stables like 2 or 3 sets ago, like the Donald Duck Bodyguard, or the Baloo. But the problem with this lore gain is that it's just so bad against Calhoun, it's crazy. Like the Baloo is uninkable and feeds into her like nothing, and the Donald Duck dies without trading her, which is also very, very bad. So the chip at least trades it, and the Dale lives through it, and therefore the Dale is my choice currently. For the Wendy's, they are still good. They are still not bad because they have 3 willpower. The Talented Sailors, which is great, and this is, I mean, it's kind of a staple, right? You can always resort to this. It will never be totally bad. But yeah, I think it has been power crept by Lilo a little bit. And the other Wendy is great as well. Still great card. Still playable, definitely. I want to make room for her, but I just don't know what to cut right now, because it is just amazing on the draw and brings us back against aggro decks that are very, very fast. But yeah, I also saw people playing the Pluto and Gaston line with the discounts, but we don't have enough big bombs for that. If you want to include this line, you definitely have to run the big Stitches, the Rockstar Stitch and the Carefree Surfer, and I would then recommend to also run a Wreck-It Ralph, Admiral Underpants, or maybe Mufasa or something like that. But why Mufasa isn't the greatest idea for our deck, I will talk about a little bit later. You could also include Perdidas, but they are a little bit slow right now. 6 ink is very much. We sometimes don't reach 6 ink. It is uninkable, so it hurts. It immediately dies to Brawl. I know this is a meme, but we have to address it. And yeah, I think it's just a little bit too slow right now. You could run the Duke Weaselton. It's still a good card. It will get the 2 lore off most probably. And you could, of course, also play the beloved by Frank Karsten playline of the Simba into the Shift Simba, or also include the other Simba, because this Simba with Bodyguard has been power crept out of the meta, just like the Donald Duck, because of the stat line that dies to Calhoun. And this thing needs 2 trades and maybe gets the shift line up more consistently, but I'm still not that big of a fan, currently at least. You could always think about a Sven as well. It's still a great card. Re-readies your character, which is never bad. Takes them out of challenging range. And of course, you could also go back to the tried and tested Piglet. The problem I have with Piglet currently is that it basically dies to anything steel, to every nuke. It's dead. It gets traded for free because of the 2 willpower by regular trades after getting 1 quest off, and you sometimes not always have the possibility to get a 3rd character up, and that's why it rotated out. it is still a great choice, of course. You can run it, it's no problem to run it. Also, I tested the coda a little bit, the Talkative Cup, 2 ink, 2/1, quest for 2, during opponent's turns you can't lose lore. This was very great last set, especially at the end of last set, where everybody and their mother was running the DKP list, red-blue with 4 Pirate's Life or stuff like that, because this card is amazing against Pirate's Life. But yeah, currently I don't see red-blue DKP lists that much anymore. The people that play red-blue either went back to Sisu or play the new item list, so yeah, I wouldn't really run it, but it could be a possibility if the DKP list comes back. And now on to some traps where I would not recommend you to play them. The first one is Mufasa. Mufasa is great currently in yellow-green aggro, but in my opinion it is a little bit bad in our deck, because the possibility to hit something like a song or a location is just too crazy with 12 cards that aren't characters. So yeah, personally I would not recommend to include it. Then the Wasabi. I have seen some people that want to make this work, want to make item removal work, also the Judy Hopps and stuff like that. I can tell you it's not worth it. They just recycle the items with the new Tamatoa. It's just busted. This card is so crazy. I'm sorry to toot this horn as well, like many do, but yeah, it's just the truth. Unfortunately, the card is too strong, and therefore blue steel and red blue items are great decks currently, and yeah, you're just wasting time destroying the items. They will get it back, they will have enough anyway, so don't include this card in my opinion. Then the Penny the Orphan. I tested it a lot, but we just don't have enough heroes in the deck to make this get ward, and therefore the Duke Weaselton is strictly stronger, and I'm not even running the Duke Weaselton, so why would I run the Penny? Still not a bad card if you're playing a hero deck. Definitely a consideration then. 3 more ideas. The Snow White. It looks great and it is a great card in limited, but it's totally bad in constructed in my opinion. It just gets nuked and you will never get the quest off, and it's overcosted for that. If this would be 3, I would definitely run it. But at 4 ink, no, definitely not. I also tested the Isabella Madrigal, 5 ink, 3/3, quest for 4. Unfortunately, it's uninkable, it's quite expensive. The stats aren't that great, and the effect is not that good because we're only running 4 songs. So it's a good card, but not in our deck, and I wouldn't even say it's meta viable currently. The last card to consider is the Coda Smallish Bear, the new 3 ink 2/2, the quest for 3. This is like a piglet that's always online, but it's one it costs 1 ink more, and therefore yeah, I don't think we can make it work. I wouldn't recommend running this as well. So these are the traps. I could do some mulligans, and let's simulate around here to make it quick. Wow, this is a great hand actually. I really like it. I mean, there are several lines here, but the best line would definitely be to triple 1-drop turn 1 and 2. There's a world where you can play the Neverland on 2 and the Fixed Felix on 3, but this would only be great if we had the big shift line, but because we don't have it and we don't want a mulligan for it with such a quick start, we don't need it right now. So you can go the safe route and keep these 4 ink. So to say, ink the Neverland, play Daisy on 1, ink the Fixit, play Daisy and Nala on 2, and so ditch these 2 cards to hope for a 3-drop or a 4-drop for draw. But we can also go risky and do something like this. We have 15 uninkables, we have 1, 2, 3 in hand, so we only have 12 back in the deck. What are the odds to get 4 uninkables back? They are very, very low. So we can definitely dig for a 3-drop here. Yeah, so that's what I would mulligan, no matter if we're on the play or on the draw currently. Because, like, again, if we had the Fixed Felix shift line and the Neverland, maybe for one Daisy like this, then there's a world where this could be our play. but in general, Daisy is one of the greatest one-drops we have currently, so I would go for something like this and be a little bit aggro, no matter if on the play or on the draw. Be a little bit risky. Let's go for it. Okay, so we drew 2 uninkables, but it's not that bad because we have 2 high-cost inkables. Therefore, we would just ink the Let It Go on 1, play the Daisy, then ink the mana, play Nala Daisy, and then ink what we draw and play Prince into Prince and go from there. Because we have 2 Princes up by turn 4, if we top deck a Rapunzel, we will get a draw off for sure. And it will be very hard to get rid of both and then clear 12 HP. So this is a hand where we live by what we top deck and just go sideways. Okay, next game. Next hand. We only have one drop, which isn't even the greatest one drop in the world. We have the big Fix-It Felix, but not the small one, and also not the Neverland, and we have a Thunderbolt and no Shift Line. This is actually not a good hand. We're also lacking a 2-drop. So the Alice on 3 is always good, because if we can follow it up with the Scrooge on 4, it's great because we can give the Scrooge ward. We can lose the 1 ink, the 1 lore, but that's no problem. But then we get into problems turn 2. So I wouldn't recommend to keep the Scrooge here, and I wouldn't even keep the Dale because we want to play the Alice on 3, definitely. So we need a 2-drop badly, and yeah, this would be my mulligan. Also, again, no matter if we're on the play or on the draw, it just really doesn't matter because we want to curve out. We want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 2 1-drops on 2 or something like that, you know what I mean? So yeah, the Alice is just too strong to not keep it. There's a world where we can also keep the Dale, just to be able to ink something turn 1 and then follow it up. But yeah, I just like the Alice way too much here, especially if we're on the play. If we're on the play, the Alice gets stronger. If we're on the draw, the Dale gets stronger because it's a stat bomb. That would be maybe the only difference I would mulligan for if we're on the play or on the draw. So let's do it like I said in the beginning, and let's look what we have. Okay, so that's not bad. We can opt for triple 1-drop again, or we can just play Daisy into Puppy into Alice into mana, and I think this will be the correct line. Just ink the Nala or ink the mana, play a Daisy. But actually I wouldn't ink the mana. I would definitely ink the Nala, because then ink the second Nala and the Puppy, and then ink what we draw, the Alice, then ink what we draw, play the mana, and maybe we can even play out the second mana. 2 mana is broken, they won't get rid of 2 mana. Next, and probably last mulligan, just so that you get an idea. Oh, this is a very bad hand, because we don't have a 1-drop and only 1 2-drop. Sometimes I hear people like Brent DeCanio, which unfortunately now works for Ravensburger and doesn't do content anymore, say that you keep your best 2-drop, but I wouldn't even say that Lilo is our best 2-drop currently in the deck, and therefore I would ditch her. This is a full ditch just to get a 1-drop, because in my opinion, if you're an aggro deck and you skip your 1-drop, you basically lost. So do everything to get a 1-drop and go for a full mulligan here. I wouldn't keep the Lilo just to have a 2-drop, and also it's understated, you know what I mean, so definitely ditch everything. Sometimes we get unlucky and of course don't get a 1-drop, but then my opinion is always then that fate decided that you don't that you won't win this game. So let's see. We got a 1-drop, which is good. So the hand plays itself currently, because it's a little bit like the last hand, but we have to hope for a 2-drop top deck, or at least for another 1-drop that we can play on turn 2. But until then, we can ink the Thunderbolt, play the Nala, hope to draw a 2-drop, ink 1 Dale, play the 2-drop, then go into Alice when on the play, or Dale when on the draw, and then drop mana or Rapunzel if you get a heal target. Rapunzel is basically a secret unink, never ink it, you need to draw. And so, yeah, this hand isn't great, but also not terrible. So it is winnable, but it will be hard. You always want to curve out. Unfortunately, in all 3 mulligans, we didn't have our shift line once, but in all the games I played, I had the shift line of either the Thunderbolt or the Fix-It Felix in like 12 or 13 games. So yeah, you have it more often than you will think. And I mean, that's the thing with shift lines, right? You have it in the deck so that there's a possibility of them working out, and they won't work out all the time. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck and have fun with the deck. It's certainly an underdog pick again. It's a surprise pick, but it can catch people off guard. It can run away. It can go under many decks. And yeah, try it out for yourself. I would love for you to leave a like or a comment. Please, that would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, let's punish the Sapphire Steel army. Bye bye, guys.